Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group Blues and we present our findings in the last topic in this syllabus, which is incentive and compensation system. Okay, before we go deeper, before that, I will introduce our group members, which are NURFATEHHA, Nabilah, IZZATI, SYAZWANI, and also NORSYAFIKA Nabilah. Okay, my name is AIMAN Nabilah binti ABDUL Kader, metric 1200736. Okay, next, this is our table of content that will present by our presenter. Okay, first, the presenter will present the goal, congruence, and principal-agent relationship. Next, the theory that included in this topic, which is expectancy theory and motivational theory. And our presenter also will explain the link between performance evaluation and organizational reward system. Also, lastly, the presenter will reveal the real cases that implementing incentives and compensation systems in real life. Okay, firstly, before we go deeper, we need to understand what is a goal congruence. In the previous presentation, Group Amico also have touched the goal congruence. So in a simple term or in a simple word, goal congruence can be defined as when all people in the organization share one goal or share one mission to achieve. In real life, obtaining goal congruence among the organization's managers is the main obstacle or the main problem to an organization functioning properly. It is because managers are often unaware or doesn't take care too much about the effect of their decisions on the other parts of the organization. Also, it is natural for people, for human beings, to be more concerned and be more focused on with the performance of their own units rather than with the effectiveness of the entire organization. So by that, to achieve goal congruence, the behavior of managers throughout a decentralized organization must be directed toward achieving organizational goal. One way of doing this is by developing performance goals and incentive schemes. The performance goals are guidance or provide direction for managers of each unit in the organization and used by corporate management to evaluate and assess the performance of a particular unit and its manager. Meanwhile, incentive schemes are like a link or the connection between managers' achievement to managers' achievement to achieve the targets and how to provide them more motivation and work hard towards organization objectives and achieve goal congruence. Not only in obtaining the goal congruence, but incentives and compensation systems are important in the principal and agent relationship. The principal-agent relationship is an arrangement in which one entity legally appoints another to act on its behalf. In a principal-agent relationship, the agent acts on behalf of the principal and should not have a conflict of interest in carrying out the duty. The principal-agent relationship is expressed clearly through a written contract and or implied through an action. Here is a diagram that shows how the principal-agent relationship works. Okay, first, the principal hires an agent to work to generate profit for their principal. Meanwhile, an agent works to a level that maximizes their own utility. For example, company shareholders are the principals and managers are the agents that have been charged to run the company by the shareholders' directions. So since the shareholders here hire the managers and employees in order to generate profit for them, what the shareholders can do to ensure that the agents or the employees do their work in the best condition and gain the maximum profits. Of course, one of them is by using an effective incentive and compensation system. Okay, the incentive scheme consists of processes, practices, and also systems that are used to provide levels of pay and benefits to employee. At any level of the organization, employee remuneration may consist of a base salary, performance-related pay, and also non-financial rewards such as a better computer, a better office equipment, overseas travel, and also can be a dinner at an expensive restaurant for the family. Using some parts of employee remuneration to achieve financial or non-financial performance targets can provide strong and positive incentives for managers and employees to strive for a higher and better performance. However, if the performance measurement system is not designed carefully, it may encourage behaviors that do not improve the organizational performance. For example, an excessive or too much emphasis on striving or achieving a high ROI can lead to dysfunctional decisions, as we saw in a earlier or the previous presentation. So to conclude, designing an incentive schemes that encourages goal congruence behavior in a company is complex. It's difficult to reward managers and employees for their past actions, and at the same time to encouraging them to improve their future performance. There are some issues that need to be considered in designing an effective incentive and compensation system, which are the composition of the incentive itself, whether it must be in cash, shares, or other etc. Also, whether the rewards are to be tied to specifically individual or to a group performance achievements. And the timing of the payment also need to be looked, whether it must be in time or deferred. Managers also need to understand what types of rewards that motivate their employees. Okay, that's all from me. The next presenter will continue the presentation by explaining the extrinsic and intrinsic motivation.
Next, my name is NURFATEHHA binti RAHMAN and my metric number is 1200667. So next slide is the definition of motivation. So motivation can be interpreted as a process of factors that influence to the person's effort and intensity to achieve their goals. And there are two motivations, which is intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is motivation that derive from interest and enjoyment of the work, while an extrinsic motivation is motivation that derive from sources outside the individual. So, intrinsic motivation can be maybe arise when employees experience the following. So, first, choice. So, when the employer give the employee the opportunity to choose whatever the task that they want to do, or to choose how they want to do their task, then the employee will feel motivated to keep doing their job. So next is competence. So competence is linked with the previous factor, which is when the employee is given the opportunity to choose how they want to do the task, then they will be enthusiastic to do the work. So when they feel enthusiastic to do the work, they will feel that they are more efficient in doing their job. So when they feel they are more efficient, and so when they feel they are more efficient in doing their job, so it will keep motivate them to keep their job to keep doing their job properly than the previous. Next is meaningfulness. So when the employee give a meaningful task to their so when their employer give the meaningful task to the employee, then the employee will feel appreciated and will feel responsible to do the job properly. Next, progress. So when we talk about progress, of course, everyone, if they are concerned about their progress, it will motivate them. It will motivate them to do better than the work that they do before. So when the employee keep checking on their progress, then this action can motivate them to do their job better than before. So next, we move to the next slide. So what is compensation scheme? So basically, compensation scheme is a benefits that employee receive in exchange for their labor. So it is said that in fact, incentive and compensation scheme is the major factor that contributes to the productivity of labor. So of course, manager want to implement effective compensation plan. So how they want to do? So how they want to do that? Also, of course, the effective compensation plan refer to the system and policies that are fair and equitable. So next, let's we look at the examples of monetary compensation plan. So first, it is a cash or stock rewards. So usually cash or stock rewards are rewarded to the employee at year end. Next is stock options. So stock options give the right to employees to purchase stock at future dates. Next, a deferred compensation. So deferred compensation refer to the manager holds a portion of employee base until a specific date. And usually the common examples of deferred compensation is pensions. So next is commission. So commission basically is you get money after you complete your work, so it is a commission. So next is wages or overtime wages. So wages and overtime wages is basically is a salary, and overtime salary if you do an overtime job.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAZWANI binti IZZATUL KHAIRY. My matrix number is 1200782. Today I will present about motivation theory. But first, I will explain about what is motivation. Motivation is a state of mind filled with energy, passion, which drive a person to work in a certain way to achieve desired goals. Motivation is a force that pushes people to work with a high level of commitment and focus, even if things are going against them. In short, motivation is a driving force behind human action. For motivation theory is a way of looking at the motivation of person and how this influences their behavior, whether for personal or professional reason. This motivation theory is important to every aspect of society but especially relevant to business and management. Motivation is a key to more profitable employees as a motivated employee is more productive. There are 5 factors of motivation. First, Maslow theory of hierarchical needs. Second, Hesberg two-factor theories. Third, McClellan theory of needs. Fourth, McGregor theory X and theory Y. And lastly, theory of expectancy. For the first theory of motivation is Maslow theory of hierarchical needs. This theory was developed by Abraham H. Maslow. He is believed that a person will be motivated when all his needs are fulfilled. He demonstrates this by creating a pyramid to show how people are motivated and mentioned that one cannot rise to the next level unless lower level needs are fulfilled. This means that the lowest level needs in the pyramid are basic needs, and unless these lower needs are satisfied, people do not look at working towards satisfy the upper level needs. At the slide, we can see the pyramid. At the very bottom in the slide is psychological needs, which are basic needs for survival such as air, sleep, food, water. Next, we have safety needs, which is protection from threats, deprivation and other dangers. Next, social needs. The needs for association, affiliation, friendship and so on to bond with other human beings. Next, self-esteem needs. This is the needs for respect and recognition. And the top of the pyramid is self-actualization needs, which means the opportunity for personal development, learning, and challenging work. For this theory, the leader will have to understand at what level the team members are currently and seek out to help them to satisfy those specific needs and accordingly work to help fulfill those needs. This will help the team member perform better and more ahead with the project. Example company that use this theory is Apple Incorporated. Apple apply on Maslow theory of hierarchical needs to keep their employee happy. In order for their employee physical needs to be satisfied, Apple provide workers an average salary of $12 per hour. This means that everyone is being paid well. For safety needs are fulfilled by annual safety check on the workplace. Employees are provided with health care. For social needs, Apple give their employees paid vacation and holiday. For esteem need, Apple praise its worker and give recognition when deserved. And lastly, for self-actualization needs can be achieved while working in the Apple as they give their employees challenging problems to be solved. For the second theory is Hesberg two factors theory. Hesberg motivation theory, which is also known as two factors or hygiene theory, is another one of the more renowned employee motivation theory. Hesberg classified the needs into two broad categories, which namely hygiene factors and motivating factors. For hygiene factors refer to a person's work environment, including working condition, wages, and workplace relations. To illustrate these hygiene factors, imagine that you are working in unpleasant work environment. Your office is too hot in the summer and too cool in the winter. You are being harassed and mistreated. You will certainly be miserable in such a work environment. However, if these problems are solved, you will be motivated to do your work. For motivation factors are referred to motivated an employee into higher performance. The typical motivated factors include achievement, interest in job, growth, and responsibility for tasks. Example company that use this theory is Google Incorporated. Google Incorporated is using this two factors theory concept in their company and to make sure the employee enjoy the working environment during their working time. The Google Incorporated has provided an awesome working place and benefit to their staff. Google Incorporated has applied the fun and laughter at working place. For example, Incorporated has prepared fun stuff around the office, including bowling alleys and giant climbing wall. Furthermore, the pool table and video game also available in many places to their staff to use. For the third theory is McClellan theory of needs. This motivation theory of management suggests that each person has three basic needs: the needs of power, achievement, and affiliation. For achievement, this person is motivated by success or achieving objective. They thrive on challenging situations and typically set themselves hard to reach a goal and want to excel at them. People with high needs for achievement prefer tasks that provide for personal responsibility and result based on their own effort. For affiliation, a need for love, belonging, and social acceptance. People with high needs for affiliation are motivated by being liked and acceptance by others. They tend to participate in social gatherings and may be uncomfortable with conflict. This kind of person is work really well with others and will seek out for social interaction. Lastly, for power, a need for controlling own work or the work of others. People with high needs of power desire situations in which they exercise power and influence over others. This kind of person are typically strong leaders and self-disciplined. Example company that use this theory is Samsung Electronics. For affiliation, Samsung Electronics has perfectly good environment for all their employees. It means that all the employees really enjoy working there and they're really motivated to going to work. With a good relationship between the employees, Samsung Electronics has many achievements in the past 20 years in electronic industry. Based on McClellan theory, achievement is one of the motivators for the employees. All the achievement that Samsung Electronics has accomplished made the employee work better and harder. Also, with all the achievement, the employee can feel proud working there. A big company like Samsung Electronics provide promotion opportunity for each employee that work really well. The purpose of the promotion is to make the employees motivated. In this case, based on the McClellan theory, Samsung Electronics has applied one of the motivators, which is power. Promotion is one of the examples for applying power. Samsung Electronics give an equal opportunity employee for men, women, and disabled.
Assalamualaikum. My name is NURSYAFIKA Nabilah binti ABDULLAH alias ABDUL. My matrix number 1200783. The next theory is McGregor theory X and theory Y. In theory X, it explains manager who accept this theory believe that if you feel that your team member dislike their work, have little motivation, need to be watched every minute, and are incapable of being accountable of their work, avoid responsibility and avoid work whenever possible, then you are likely to use an authoritarian style of management. In theory Y, Managers who accept this theory believe that if people are willing to work without supervisions, take pride in their works, see it as a challenge, and want to achieve more, they can direct their own effort, take ownership of their work, and do it effectively by themselves. For example, company Google Incorporated. In the previous slide, IZZATI has said that Google Incorporated had applied Hesberg two factors theory, but theory that performed by Google have disadvantages. It have wasted the money of the company. This is because it costs a company a lot of money to set up or establish all the facility, and it cannot make sure that the employee be more efficient on their work. So, the management had applied in the Google Incorporated is Theory Y by Douglas McGregor. The Google Incorporated performed this Theory Y because their tasks tend to be more flexible and innovative. Besides, their company always need the new concept and idea to support their current situation on the world and work hard to keep the new technology going. The last theory is expectancy theory. Expectancy theory was developed by Victor Vroom, business school professor at the Yale School of Management in 1964. It states that intensity of work effort depends on the perception that an individual's effort will result in the desired outcome. Simply put, people work harder when they believe increasing their effort will improve their performance and lead to rewards. For expectancy theory, there are three elements from this theory. The first element is expectancy, the second element is instrumentality, and the last element is valence. The first element is expectancy. Expectancy is the assumption that if you work harder, you might get a bigger reward. Expectancy push people to gather the things they need to do jobs, such as raw materials and tools, the right skills, help from their boss, and informations. Some factors may influence the level of expectancy. The first factor is self-efficacy. In self-efficacy, they believe in your ability to successfully perform can impact your motivations level. And the second factor is goal difficulty. The difficulty level of your goal may influence the outcome you expect from your work. And the last factor is control. The level of control you feel you have over your performance can influence the effort you make. In simple words, expectancy is an effort that employee put in that will lead to a certain performance. The second element is instrumentality. The idea of instrumentality is that your pay is based on how well you do at work. For a reward to make a difference in how someone works in the future, it must follow a few basic guidelines. This is some basic guidelines that need to be followed. The first is clearly communicate the reward a team member can expect to receive. The second guidelines is team member can trust their manager or supervisor to give them an appropriate reward for their effort. And the last guidelines is team members have clear expectation for their rewards. And the last element is valence. Valence is the measure you give to the result that you hope to achieve for your performance. This frequently depends on your own needs, objective, values, and motivational factors. It will help a person reach their personal goals. Expectancy theory most likely occurs when someone is expecting something positive, such as reward. Without the reward, it will be less effort compared to when something will be rewarded for the result of the outcome. For example of expectancy theory is Apple Incorporated. Apple Incorporated use expectancy theory to motivate the employee to achieve the goal which are measurable, attainable, and specific. Employees attempt to increase their job performance level to get the reward. Based on the slide, we can see the reward provided by Apple Incorporated to their staff. The first reward is 3 to 5% bonus based on salary if achieve their target. The second reward is a free iPod Shuffle or iPhone as a reward for any accomplishment. Third is salary increment up to 25% for great performance. The fourth is receive discount $500 off of a Mac or $250 off of an iPad with conditions at least they need to work 90 days, and the last reward is get 25 discount on Apple hardware. And the right side of the slide shows the achievement achieved by Apple Incorporated after they apply the expectancy theory.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Nabilah binti SAHRI. My metric number 1200700. Today I want to present about link between performance evaluation and organizational reward. Performance evaluation, also known as performance review or performance appraisal. Performance evaluation is the process of evaluating how effectively employees are fulfilling their job responsibilities and contributing to accomplishment of organizational goals. The process of performance evaluation is a systematic process that assessing an employee's performance. This evaluation is especially useful to understand each employee's individual abilities limitations in order to set training, determine compensation, and calculate suitability for advancement. The objective of performance evaluations are to measure and improve the performance of employees and increase their future potential and value to the company. There are 7 steps of performance evaluation process. The first step is job analysis. The manager needs to define and analyze the job to make sure that employees agree on their duty and job scope of standard. Next step is setting up the standard, which will be used as a base to compare with the actual performance of employees in order to establish performance standards. Through this step, the manager can evaluate whether the performance of employees is successful or unsuccessful and measure their contribution to the organizational goals and objectives. Once the standards are set, management is responsible to communicate the standard to all the employees of organizations, and the employees should be informed and the standard should be clearly explained to them. So this will help them to understand their roles and know what exactly is expected from them. The next step is the most difficult part, that is determining the actual performance of employees, that is work done by the employees during the specific period. The continuous process is needed to monitor the performance throughout the year. The manager should be careful during the evaluation and make sure that personal bias does not affect the outcome of process and providing assistance rather than interfering in employees' work. Next, matching actual with desired performance by comparing the actual performance and standard set. The result may be good and bad, which means the result can show that the actual performance being more than the desired performance or being less. They illustrate a negative deviation of organizational performance. This step including recalling, evaluating, and analysis of data related employees' performance. Then, the result of the appraisal need to be discussed with the employees on one-to-one basis or discussion directly with each employee that focus on communication and listening. So, the discussion should be result a possible solution, positive attitude, and motivate employees to perform better. The last step of the process is to take decisions that can be taken either to improve the employee's performance, take necessary corrective action, or related HR decision such as reward, promotion, demotion, or transfer. There have 4 methods of performance evaluation. The first one is category rating methods, which is the simplest method for appraising performance, which requires a manager to mark an employee's level of performance on a specific form divided into category of performance. The second one is narrative methods, which the method written appraisal information provided by the manager in HR about the documentation of critical incident, essay, and field review methods, which the records describe an employee's action rather than indicates the actual rating. The third method is comparative method that require managers directly compare the performance of their employees against one another. For example, a data entry operator's performance would be compared with other data entry operators by the computing supervisor. Comparative techniques include ranking, pair comparison, and force distribution. And the last method is behavioral or objective methods that using behavioral rating approaches that focus on employees' behaviors instead of other characteristics. And use framework management by objective or MBO, which refers to a framework designed to manage businesses based on their needs and goals. The advantage of performance evaluation are firstly, career development. Performance appraisal measures employees' performance that allowing them to identify their points of strength and weaknesses. They help employees' personal growth as they will try to overcome their weaknesses and enhance their strengths. The second one is work achievement recognition, that performance evaluations give managers a chance to recognize employees who perform well during the evaluated year. Recognizing employees for their achievements build their morale, and employees with high morale are more productive. The third advantage are boost employee morale. When employees are happy and have good work-life balance, they are more likely to produce higher quality work. Employees who experience less stress are more focused, creative, and open to changes and new ideas. Less stressed employees also mean healthier employees. However, performance evaluation have disadvantages. The first one is bias, because managers to focus more on the personality and style of employees instead of the actual achievement. So, good employees will feel slight, which may cause tension in the workplace. The second disadvantage are one-sided feedback. If the performance review is one-sided, employees may feel as if their opinion doesn't matter. This may cause employees to shut down and refuse to communicate with the management in the future. So, the manager should listen to feedback presented by the employees and correct evaluations if employees make a valid point. Next, organizational reward system that refer to all the monetary, non-monetary and psychological payments or psychological needs of employees that an organization provides for its employees in exchange for work they perform. Objectives of the organization's reward system are firstly to support the goals of the organizations by aligning the goals of employees with the reward scheme that must be consistent with the strategy of the organization. Secondly, to motivate employees by giving praise at company meetings, promoting staff and raise staff involvement in decision making. The third one is to ensure that the organization is able to recruit and retain sufficient number of employees with the right skills. For example, a Microsoft company that offers remuneration to keep their staff as high staff turnover can lead to higher costs of recruitment and training of new staff. There have two types of reward scheme. The first one is base pay, or we call it as basic pay, that refer to the minimum amount that an employee receives for working for an organization, which this method addresses the lower level of Maslow's hierarchy. The scheme related to the psychological needs of employees like food, water, and rest. The second one is performance-related pay, that refer to generic term for reward system where payments are made based on the performance either of the individual or a team of employees. There have a few types of performance-related pay, such as piecework scheme, that a price is paid for each output. The higher the output, the more the employee receives. The second one is individual performance, that related pay scheme, where the employee receives a bonus or an increase in base pay as the previously agreed objectives or based on assessment by their manager. This reward system used for middle managers and for professional staff. Next is a group-related performance-related pay scheme. The scheme is similar to the individual, and the rewards are paid based on the achievement of goals. For the group, the bonus is calculated based on performance of the team and shares among the members of the team. The next, Knowledge contingent pay, where an employee will receive a pay rise or bonus or both for work-related learning. For example, an ACCA candidate may receive a higher salary once he has passed all the knowledge level paper and even higher salary after passing all his exams. Next is commission that normally used for sales staff. The sales staff may receive a basic low pay, but will then receive commission based on a percentage of the amount of their sale. Next, profit-related pay is a type of group performance-related pay scheme that link to the profit of the organization. If the company's profit hit a predetermined threshold, a bonus will be paid to all members of the scheme. Next is stock option plans. That under stock option plans, staff receive the right to buy shares in their company at a certain date in the future, at the price agreed to be. The advantages of organizational reward scheme are increased productivity of the employees, reduced number of complaints about the employees, and decline in employees turnover, which high turnover will affect increase in cost of labor to recruit new staff, and the last advantage is higher profit margins. Surely, performance evaluation and organizational reward have a positive relationship. We can see from the real situations such as that happen in insurance company. Insurance company is an insurance company that sells a range of insurance products, for example like motor and home insurance services that directly to the customer. Majority insurance sales are made through its contact center by contact center agent. The problem of insurance is the last 2 years, staff turnover rates in insurance contact center have increased significantly because they found better paid jobs with other companies. So that impact of high turnover of insurance contact center is loss of experienced contact center staff that could adversely affect the quality of service it provides to the customer. So, the problem can be handled by link between performance evaluation and organizational reward. The company set goals for the coming years that are to increase customer satisfaction and to improve staff retention. Also, a reward scheme has been proposed for the contact center, which agents being eligible for a bonus up to 20% of their salaries based on their performance agreed to key targets. The first target is average call length, that the last year the average call length was 12 minutes, and however the target is for agents average call length has to be below 10 minutes. The second key is customer satisfaction score that enable agents to deal with more customers and reduce the amount of time a customer has to wait to speak to an agent.
So next, we look at the industrial examples. So our group choose McDonald's as our examples. So what we want to look at the McDonald's, we want to look what McDonald's applied, what kind of incentive and compensation system that McDonald's implement in their company. So McDonald's implement monetary incentive and non-monetary incentive to their employee. So let's we look at the monetary incentive first. So McDonald's have a rewards program based on employees' performance. So when the performance is good, then they will get a higher pay. So the concept is the better their performance is, the greater their pay opportunities become. So next, McDonald's also offered a base pay. So usually base pay refer to the basic salary or salary of the employee. Next, McDonald's also offers short-term financial incentive on yearly basis. So short-term financial incentive is a certain amount of cash payment on yearly basis based on employees' performance and based on the profitability of the company. And for example of short-term financial incentive is annual cash bonuses. Next, McDonald's also gives stock to employees who satisfy the company's criteria. So basically, McDonald's do this, McDonald's give stock to the employee, is to make the employee feel more responsible to the productivity of the company. So next, McDonald's also implements a car program. So this car program allows their employee to use company car for free or at a discounted rate. And next, McDonald's also, like any other companies, McDonald's also offer other benefits such as insurance and so on. So non-monetary incentive, McDonald's runs several recognition programs such as Excellence Award and President's Awards. So this kind of award program is actually a motivation for their employee so that the employee can be enthusiastic to complete their work. And next is McDonald's also offer flexible working hours for their employees, especially for parents. So this flexible working hours allows the employee to start the work and to finish their work at any time that they want. So basically, this flexible working hours allows the employee to come earlier or later than the set time. So next, health benefits. McDonald's also offer health benefits such as medicine, foods, and any activities that contribute to the health benefits. Next, McDonald's also offer an opportunity for personal advancement. So the company send the employee for a personal advancement to improve their productivity. So next example is Barclays companies. So for Barclays companies, we focus to the what kind of challenges that this company face to implement an effective incentive and compensation system. So for just overall, Barclays is a British multinational universal bank, and their headquarters is located in London, England. So before that, let's look at the remuneration policies that Barclays implement in their company. So for example, Barclays offer pension schemes, life assurance, annual leave, health benefits, and so on. So let's look at the challenges that Barclays face in implementing the incentive and compensation system in their company. So first, the challenge arises in determining the value of the non-financial activities. So basically, the non-financial activities such as competency, performance, and hard work of an employee is difficult to measure. So this is a challenges for Barclays to keep measure the non-financial activities of their employees. Next, inequality of incentive and rewards offered to executive and other staff. So the cases in Barclays, the senior executive will get a higher reward than the junior staff. This will give a negative impact to the junior staff because the junior will feel demotivated and they will affect the productivity and the performance of the company. So, for the solution, Barclays can implement a uniform reward incentive and reward system that are acceptable to all employees. So it doesn't matter a senior or a junior, we give the reward quality to all the employees. So next is the challenges arise in determining the reward system that would be appropriate. So logically, rewards are in many forms, and not all forms of reward can satisfy employees' desire, because major of the employee want cash rewards, but company especially the company that have a difficult in finance, they can't afford to give all the employee cash rewards. So that it is a challenge for Barclays to determine what kind of rewards that are suitable and can give full satisfaction of the employee. So next is, it is difficult to set up a reward system for senior management. So why it is difficult? Because there are cases in Barclays. So Andrew Tinney, the former of Chief Operating Officer at Barclays, was entitled to the annual package with around 5 million in salary, bonus, incentive, and share options. But Andrew engaged in fraudulent activities. So how this happened? This case indicates that there are no relationship between the reward and the senior executive, because the senior executive in Barclays received a quite high incentive and compensation, but he still engaged in fraudulent activities. So it is the remuneration package that are poor that are offered to the senior executive, or it is a ethical issue of the employee himself. So it is a challenge for Barclays to set up a reward system for the senior management. So the conclusion is that incentive and compensation system is the most effective ways to increase labor productivity. So why we want to increase labor productivity? Because labor productivity holds a major portion that contributes to the performance of the company. So basically the company depends on the labor to keep a stable company in an industry. So when the employee is unmotivated to do their job and not responsible for their company, then the company will collapse. So it is very important to implement an effective compensation plan so that the employee can get their right, and the manager able to collect all the employees that are feel motivated to keep the company stable and to keep helping their business activities. So that's all from our group. Thank you very much for your attention.